Welcome to All Things Social Security. Enjoy your video.
Good morning. Happy Sunday. I hope you all had a great weekend and a very good last week. And Happy New Year. Let's see where we're at. This is Sunday Social Security Roundup for the week of January 5th. Wow. To the 10th, then, right? Saturday the 10th. All right. So on the 5th, we had, a little must-do tip. It has to do with the third part of the series of the strategy benefits of having had a composite job for winning your claim. That was a three-parter. That was the last of the three parts. I do plan on getting on the co-joined entire thing at a later date. But as you know, I try to keep them short. Not always, but usually 10, 11 minutes or under. So that one was broken up for the people that prefer that shortness, can't sit that long. We put it together. It'll probably be 20, 30 minutes, I suppose. Something like that anyway. It's a really important thing to know because so many people have composite jobs as defined by the SSA. So it's something you definitely want to know about if you have it, because you can take advantage of it, particularly on a step 4, passing a step 4 on the sequential evaluation process, which we have videos on what that is if you want to look at that playlist for sequential evaluations. All right, so the next day, January 6th. This was a terrific, crazy anniversary date in a couple different ways, including, rest in peace, my grandfather from Sweden who passed away on that day 40 years ago this year. 40 years ago. I remember because I was in college. Okay. Yeah, and he died a little prematurely because it was from a car accident. It wasn't from old age or anything. The next day, January 7th, it was another anniversary, by the way, January 6th, that I'm very heartfelt about, but we won't go into that here. January 7th was oh yeah, it was a Q&A portions. Instead of just doing one, I had two. One was about, so they were kind of like to the other. One was about SSA's announcement about some of their improving speed relative to the past years when it comes to responsiveness to customer needs, whether that's using online, which is obviously the fastest, which frees up time for in-person and phone picker-uppers. So we went into that of what they said very briefly. And then another thing was I guess someone had brought up AI and how that's going to be used, as if it isn't already, by the SSA or any other federal agency, really. So we just touched on that a little bit, very casually. The next day was, okay, this was the full blown. So this was January 8th. As you may know, we had a 10-part series on the function report for people whose significant part of their claim is mental health. I would say if their claim is a mental health claim, it is most important, but it can be important in other ways for those that need a mental health limitation, not fully disabling in and of itself, but need it to breach certain things. That would be the grid people. So both sets of people really need to know how to understand that the function report that they're going to have to fill out does in fact implicate what could be mental health limitations. And if you don't recognize it, you're going to fail to use it to your advantage. So it's about an hour long. It's not short, but it is all the 10 of the series combined, because basically it was an hour long discussion and it was broken up into smaller portions because my policy here is to keep them short. But I always still think it's a good idea to get out the long version for the people that just want to blow through the whole thing and not have to, oh, let me go back to the playlist, find the next one, all that kind of stuff. So that came out in full on January 8th. I hope it's been of assistance to some people. Friday, of course, was Friday Law Review, which is dedicated always to to Red Friday and honoring our deployed military members who can't be home like most of us can. So I thank them, and that is always dedicated to them. This particular fraud law review was about a Utah man, age 69, who stole over $1 million between SSD and a private LTD policy And I believe that's the one where he stole someone's identity and just kept collecting at the cost of everybody else. Over $1 million. Imagine that. So that was Friday's fraud law review. The most recent. Yeah, that was, so what's Saturday? I don't even see what Saturday was. Does anybody know? It's not listed here, but it might have been the full replay. Don't hold me to it. Full replay of Wednesday's live Q&A session, 1:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Take questions from the public. Everyone is welcome. I'm not seeing it on my list, but I think that might be what was going on, what came out yesterday. It was done on Wednesday, but it takes time for YouTube to process it sometimes. Sometimes they're lickety split. Other times you got to wait days. So I'm not sure what came out yesterday. Okay. All right, guys. I hope to see you. I hope to stop it into our 12 o'clock dailies, which are the pre-recordeds of things that happen. When I'm doing my work or something that comes up and someone asks about, we post them up here. Just a quick little blurb about it. Like I said, usually less than 10 minutes, and all Social Security related, of course. And then, of course, Wednesday is the live Q&A. If you want to ask your question, just get there early. And we will be having it this Wednesday also. So that's 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this channel. And I hope to see you there. You can post your question if it's SS related. All right, guys. I will let you go back and enjoy your Sunday. I plan on enjoying mine. So have a great week. Be safe and God bless. Bye-bye now.
It's still Sunday. Did you miss last week's Social Security roundup? Not this week that you just heard, but the one prior to that, and want to catch up? I'm attaching it now. Have a great day. Bye. Good morning, afternoon, or evening. Hope you all can hear me okay. It is Sunday the 4th, January 4th. This would be my father's birthday. Yeah, he'd have been 96. Yeah, something like that. Okay. Lost him quite a while ago. A couple decades ago. All right. So we're going to do the Sunday Social Security roundup for the week of December 29th until yesterday, January 3rd. So here we go. I hope you all had a great Christmas and New Year's holiday season. Mine was very nice. Very nice. Okay. Where are we at here? The 29th, Monday. We had a little ditty about if your Social Security disability back benefits are taxed. And the other question addressed was, will the SSA take out the taxes before sending me my back benefits? So we go into that on Monday. On Tuesday, this was, yeah, you know me in physical therapy, a little bit more to drive it home why physical therapy records are the bomb, as I describe them, even if you do have improvement. Because there was some concern that, well, if I start to improve, won't that hurt my case? And I do not think that's the case at all. I've never found it to be the case in any of my cases. And that's the case. All right. Yeah, I'm really goofy today, right? That was, what did we say that was? Tuesday? Yeah. Wednesday. This is a little ditty about using a cane and how to make it an effective piece of evidence for your case, aside from you just saying you use one. And perhaps you make sure to walk in with it to your hearing if you're in person, or if you're on video, having it propped up on the desk visibly next to you. Of course, for those people that do a phone hearing, which I rarely ever recommend, that wouldn't be visible. So either way, but this is why it just being visible isn't the bomb so much as a few other things you're going to want to make sure you do if you use a cane. And that would also apply to a walker. And I even toss in there a little bit about how the strategy is kind of necessary for when your condition requires also that you also that you elevate your legs periodically throughout the day. Wednesday, we had our live stream on, this was New Year's Eve, right? Wednesday, New Year's Eve. That was a crazy day. I came back from Harrisburg, but I did the live stream before we left. It was abbreviated somewhat, not as short as I'd planned. So instead of going like an hour, we went maybe an hour 20. You know, normally we're there usually about 2 hours. I thought it would be a little shorter just because it was a holiday evening, and Christmas Eve was shorter, but people were there and asking questions. So I stuck around as long as I could. But the reason why I was leaving early was because we were expecting possible snow, and it's like a 2.5 hour drive without traffic. So not knowing what it was going to be like weather-wise, and with the holiday travel, I wanted to get on the road. That's why I kept it abbreviated, even though it wasn't that much abbreviated. And so that was Wednesday. And then Thursday was the replay of that live stream. So as you know, either Thursday or within the days after, whenever YouTube gets it processed, we put out the replay, which strips out all of the quiet time of scrolling to find someone's part two to their question. Sometimes, you know, when we're chatting, people will add something like, oh yeah, you know, they might have a post and I'll be responding to it verbally on the live stream and say, but I'm not, how old were you, did you say? And then by the time I get to their real-time answer, because we're not actually, there might be 5 people that have a question posted and I do one at a time and then more come after that. Number 5 might have been submitted 15 minutes earlier. You just don't know. So anyway, I do sometimes some scrolling with regard to that. And I just like to carve all of that out of there, unless we're talking at the same time, but usually not. So it just shortens it up sometimes by a good half hour over the entire 2-hour time frame that we generally have it. So the replay came out Thursday. On Friday, we didn't have the Friday fraud law review. My bad. So we put out something else, which was the first in a 3-parter. This one's really important. It's the strategy benefits of knowing what a composite job is and using it, because I think so many jobs are composite jobs and it's a not well understood concept. And I think it's super important for those of you who are pro se, or, you know, potentially if you're a new representative, it's something to really get a grip on and always consider, because it could help you boot out step 4 denial. Many of the people are still going to have a step 5 to deal with, but you know, you still have to get through step 4 always. So it's particularly beneficial to those where step 4 largely ends the game positively, but it is also a necessary step to get through for those that don't. So you may as well use the most ammo you have. And I always like to say too, a work history report from a prior claim can feasibly, let's say a claim you lost, can feasibly be reused in a later case. I've seen this with function reports where they drag it up from an old case, which I think is very inappropriate, particularly because it's from a different time frame. I'm surprised they don't more drag up work history reports, since that generally doesn't change unless someone worked again subsequently. That being said, when I have a case where the work history report was already done in that case by the claimant when they were pro se, I always look at it with a fine-tooth comb. I do it personally myself. My team also looks at it, but it's something that has to see my eyeballs, because very, very rarely, if ever, do I see a work history report that was prepared in a way that would be damaging for that particular claimant when it need not be, and more accurately would not have been. So we often actually recreate that wheel and redo the work history report and resend it to the SSA or the DDS unsolicited. Yes, sometimes we put it upon them. We don't expect them to ask for it because they already had one that suited their purposes, but less so suited the claimant's purpose. So we try to get that fixed. So that was Friday, January 2nd. That was part 1. Part 2 came out on Saturday, January 3rd. Yeah, we decided to do them straight in a row. You know, we did the function report for mental health claims in the past month or so. That was a long one. That was like 10, a series of 10. I do plan on getting out the full 9 yards for everybody, so that if you wanted to watch the whole thing without having to do 10-minute intervals, that would be fine. We do the 10 minutes because we like to keep our videos short. because most people can't sit that long and won't sit that long. But I will get out the full thing for those that want to. It's just going to take me some time to make sure that gets put together and scheduled to go out. So these three in this strategy, the strategy benefits of a composite job, Friday, Saturday, and will probably come out Monday. I'm thinking the third one, 3 of 3. So at least you can bang them out 3 in a row. It's kind of unfortunate for those that aren't interested in that, because then there'll be 3 days where there's nothing new for them that they're interested in. But that's just kind of how the ball bounces. We'll have to see how that goes. With the function report for the mental health claims, we spread them out every few days. I don't know which one's better. Maybe you guys have an opinion on that. Because I always have to remember that no video is going to be there to serve all the people. It's just the way it is. Do we try to bang them out sequentially for a week if need be to get it covered? But then other viewers who aren't interested in that particular topic are kind of stuck with nothing, or do we space them out? I have no problem doing it either way. Like my gut says space them out, but then I feel bad for the people that want to bang them out, but maybe I shouldn't. I mean, they are getting them at no cost, so maybe not. I don't know. Yeah, so that's it. That was through Saturday, January 3rd, guys. And January 4th, we're in the beginning of a new year. I hope everyone can stay as positive as possible. Maybe one little tiny resolution many of us can have is, I just want to be a little bit more positive than last year. I'll take it. Little baby steps, right? I'm still kind of tweaking I don't do big major resolutions too much anymore, but I find that the easy ones, the small ones, the baby steps are the ones that do become a habit. So nobody else might notice them, but if you notice them and you could tell a difference in yourself or something you do, I think that's all that matters, right? All right, guys. Let me click on out of here. God bless. Have a great week. I hope to see you this week. Remember, 12 o'clock every day of the dailies, and every Wednesday, including this one coming up, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is our live stream for any Social Security questions you might have. I hope to see you there. It's a small but friendly little chat group, and people post their questions, and I get to them. All right, guys. I'll chat with you later. Bye.